how to get, run the people initiatives where the employee is the driver in order for us to meet the business outcomes that are most important in our organization, getting out of the nice to haves. Critical changes that can help us meet those business outcomes. Would you formulate it differently?
No. I think our listeners and viewers, what's in it for them? Why should they keep watching your podcasts and kind of keep learning? I would say that in phase 1, we started in season 1, we had like an idea and a gut feeling that there is an opportunity, and the goal was, let's just crowdsource this thought leadership and figure out where the opportunity is.
Yep.
This podcast, is kind of the stream of consciousness. We just try to maybe come up with the best way to bullet point some of the things we've learned. I think we owe it to the listeners and viewers to put it on the page and say, hey, this is the distilled, 3-minute, 5-minute investment of your time to take a look at this.
Mm-hmm.
And what will probably make sense to me is we do some sort of validation season 2 and say, hey, does this summarization make sense? But then use that summarization as a framework, and hopefully we're directionally well-oriented with how we've synthesized these ideas, and then start having a lot more targeted and focused discussions.
For sure.
Right? So like, how do you, we know that mobilizing stakeholders is important, right? Being data-driven is important. Psychological, cultural factors what are those cultural factors? What should you be thinking?
For sure.
What are the levers that are at your disposal, right? So now, what we probably want to do is articulate the framework and now go a little bit deeper and keep extending the framework if there's gaps, but then provide the next level of insight, next level of detail, so that the listener can say, hey, cultural, what does that mean?
Right.
Economic, what does that mean? Is it just salary? What does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And what kind of initiatives and at which phase of employee journey these factors change, right? So all of a sudden, now this will create this whole, like a broad and deep framework for how to think, it's something that will help you build a business case if you're trying to get financing. You're saying, hey, I need to do this project, I need this.
I don't think that's an if. I think a business case is exactly what every one of our champions should be focused on. Yeah. And if they're not focusing on it, it's not serious. This is not something they're going to take on in order to be able to create the change.
But our goal is to get it to the point where we have a formal methodology and framework and reference, right, where we can keep synthesizing this stuff. Where now folks, instead of saying, hey, this is my gut feeling, we need to do X, Y, and Z, we could say, hey, here's the thought leaders from Pepsi, from Coke, from Maersk, from all these amazing companies. And by the way, this is who they are. This is how they've done it. We have a podcast. Maybe we'll have several, thought leaders in the space, so that as people are trying to figure out how can they actually put this, all these conversations to work, they'll have specific and very usable and relevant, insight on how to actually put all this stuff to work and make it actionable on their end.
Yeah. And it's not for the faint of hearts. This is not going to be, an easy, it's not a program. You're literally creating a new capability inside the organization. Yeah. That is cross-functional nature, that's going to move the needle on business outcomes. We're about to publish the episode with the global change management leader at Pepsi. Yeah. And we talked about the cultural implications. These are massive implications for the organization. Yeah. If you're in a highly competitive market, this could be the differentiator. This could be a way for you to meet the innovation that's someone outstripping you, stay in the cutting edge. There's so many strategic implications for what this could do.
Yeah. And what's interesting is, at least in my world, there's empirical evidence that it's possible. For example, I worked with one of the largest CPG companies in the world, and when I engaged with them, they could not produce a list of all of the campaigns that they're running worldwide. Right? So if you say, how much do you spend on this brand versus this brand, which type of channel, Snapchat versus YouTube, is more impactful for this or that, they couldn't answer. Individual campaign managers did, right? Maybe country managers did for certain brand, but as a chief digital officer, chief marketing officer, if I wanted to understand high level, managing a large budget, what works, what doesn't work, what should I be doing a year from now, who is the right person to run this particular. They couldn't do it, right? And then 3-4 years went by. They're able to get the metrics at the lowest level. They're able to learn, right? So if one campaign manager does something really cool, 2-3 weeks later, that knowledge bubbles up, right? Because they have an integrated systems that keeps track of all of the campaigns and objectives and tactics, right? And they're able to learn from that system. And then if I do something cool in France, 3 months later, we could replicate and adapt and hyper-personalize it now to US, and then go to Brazil, and then go to Morocco, right? So I've seen this done in digital marketing space, so I know it's possible.